Next on Deck with Tim Black.
I'm not going to sit back and watch this kid be railroaded without voicing my opinion and voicing my commentary on it, because I think it matters. But no, I wish he would have walked away, if possible. If possible. And I wish that white kid wouldn't put his hands on him. There are no winners in this story, only losers.
WFAA has obtained new court documents revealing how Austin Metcalf was stabbed to death at a track meet in Frisco. Police say another teenager had fresh blood on his finger when they found him at Kirkendall Stadium.
The affidavit shows that when officers arrived, Carmelo Anthony told them he got into an argument with Metcalf, and when the arresting officer said he had the alleged suspect in custody, Anthony replied, "I'm not alleged, I did it."
But Anthony told officers he only acted in self-defense and asked them if Metcalf was okay.
Several witnesses paint a different picture, and Metcalf's father told Matt Howerton he is not buying the excuse.
I had a dream last night, and Austin came to me and said, "I'm okay." It gives me peace. Doesn't mean I don't hurt.
The last 24 hours, unimaginable for Austin Metcalf's father, his mother, his twin brother.
Right now, I'm really numb, and I really don't feel anything. I just have to function.
Metcalf, just 17 when he arrived at Frisco ISD's district track meet Wednesday. His final breaths taken before 11 a.m., police say, after being stabbed to death by a fellow Frisco ISD student, 17-year-old Carmelo Anthony, now charged with first-degree murder.
My world's a little shattered.
An argument over where Anthony was sitting while the meet experienced a rain delay sparked a confrontation between the teen and Metcalf. According to arrest paperwork, Anthony sitting underneath Metcalf's team tent. You could see it from the air when we flew over the crime scene. Metcalf from Memorial High, Anthony from Centennial. A witness telling police Metcalf told Anthony to move from under the team's tent because he didn't go to their school. The witness telling police Anthony grabbed his bag, opened it, and reached inside and proceeded to tell Austin, "Touch me and see what happens." Investigators writing that Metcalf grabbed Anthony to tell him to move and that Anthony pulled out a black knife and stabbed Austin once in the chest and then ran away. When officers arrived, the knife was found and police say Anthony admitted to what happened, but said this to police: "He put his hands on me. I was protecting myself," even asking another officer if what happened could be considered self-defense.
What do you expect? If you're caught, the best thing you're going to do is try to lie your way out of it.
Metcalf's father telling me self-defense is not a reasonable excuse.
The truth will come out. There were too many people that were there that saw what happened. My own son told me.
In Frisco, I'm Matt Howerton.
I got the reports now that paint a different picture, right? And it puts a little clarity as well, because originally, when I saw race baiter, race hustler, anti-black mouthpiece, Glenn Beck's private dancer, Jason Whitlock, originally say he was using comparisons from this story in George Floyd. I didn't understand why he was doing it, because that didn't make no damn sense. I'm like, what's this got to do with it? Cops had the knee on him. Cops were around George Floyd. He was in police custody with handcuffed. And they kept making sure he made it to the station alive. I mean, it takes 5 cops to get you to the station. That's kind of crazy. But we've seen this before with Freddie Gray in Baltimore. But be that as it may. Let's deal with one thing at a time. I didn't understand why Jason Whitlock was bringing up George Floyd, but now I get it. Now I understand why, because allegedly, I saw a police report or an autopsy report or a toxicology report that showed that Austin Metcalf had drugs in his system. Now I get why Jason was doing this. He was defending the kid with the drugs in his system from getting, FAFO'd. That's what this was. He was doing a whataboutism with George Floyd and comparing it because he's saying that both of these folks, both George Floyd and Austin Metcalf had drugs in their system. That's what they were doing. Okay. So that cleared it up. I'm glad to understand that because I didn't understand the connection. So when they tell me that Austin Metcalf, the Christian I keep hearing about, who Dad's been on here saying was a star model student, has a drug dependency issue, apparently. Then I also found out that Carmelo Anthony, who according to the witness reports that I was reporting on yesterday, who warned Austin not once, but twice not to touch him, not to put your hands on him. And I guess Austin didn't think that was important. Neither did all the other people that were gathered around under the tent as well. There were other people there. It wasn't like it was just two people. There were witnesses. Nobody intervened. Nobody stopped anything. And according to my reports, hands were placed on Anthony. Anthony. Hands were placed on Anthony by Austin. Austin put his hands on him. And even in that report we just saw that's very favorable to the Metcalfs, they admit he did put his hands on him. Why was Anthony touched by Austin? Why did Austin put his hands on Anthony Carmelo? I see no reports that show Anthony Carmelo touching Austin. I saw a reaction to being touched. Once again, we've already stated this should have never happened. This is a tragedy. I was also reading where, contrary to the opinion, or I guess contrary to the bias and the slander of many people online who did see a black kid with twists in his hair, they can't imagine he's got a good grade point average. So I report that Carmelo Anthony has a 3.7 GPA, works 2 jobs. Good student. And was defending himself. It's funny how, when other people defend themselves, like, Zimmerman, for instance, when he defended himself, everybody was willing to wait until they found out more information. Oh, he was defending himself. He said he was. So let's see what comes out of it. And, it's kind of crazy that, cornball Jason Whitlock didn't compare this to Trayvon Martin and Zimmerman, because they'd be a little bit different. Because in this story, Austin he didn't have a weapon. He was stabbed to death, and Zimmerman had a gun. You get what I'm going with this? But Zimmerman was defending himself. It's just weird how we do this. You get what I'm saying? So people like Steven Crowder and Jason Whitlock, they want to pretend that, Anthony had no right to defend himself, but they didn't say that with Zimmerman. Just weird how we come to these conclusions, man. Just, look, I'll admit, there's got to be more information that's got to come out, but this sounds a little hinky. It sounds a little weird. It doesn't sound like people are being consistent. I mean, Daniel Penny gets to use force and take a life, and it's nothing. He's a hero. And Jordan Neely was unarmed. It's weird. Because being unarmed for us is not a good enough reason. Trayvon was unarmed. Neely was unarmed. Floyd was unarmed. And you guys didn't side with that. You said, he was afraid and it's scary and people are bigger and all this stuff. And, it's just weird how it keeps happening the same way. It doesn't seem like there's any consistency. Only thing that's consistent is when a black person ends up dead, for some reason, the white guy is always given the benefit of the doubt. Stay tuned. Later in this broadcast, you don't want to miss this part where I say this. And my heart also goes out to the Anthony family. Because based on what I've been reading, and the facts could change, if Austin Metcalf just would have kept his hands to himself, this would have never happened. Even when it's like an 80-year-old man who shoots an unarmed black kid at the door, who knocked on the wrong door, shoots him once, and when he falls, shoots him again. Luckily for that, that's the Jarl story, right? Black kid survives after the white guy stood over him with the gun and shoots him on the ground. He was unarmed too. Some of you defended that as well. Oh, what was he doing at his door? It was the wrong door. You know, people knock on people's doors in the daytime sometimes. Shot him through the door. But you know, hey, I don't want to make your head explode. You know, but I just see the same thing consistently playing out. We got these people, man, they're doing a lot of race baiting, you know. Look, everyone knows I'm a Democratic Party hater. I stand by it. Can't stand the Democratic Party. But you know what I hate more than the Democratic Party? Bigots. You know what the worst kind of bigot there is? A bigot that don't know they're a bigot. Well, that's not the worst. I guess the worst will be the intentional bigot like Steven Crowder. And then a sellout. I hate to sell out. I know I'm gonna have to get a trophy to Jason Whitlock. But Steven Crowder's a runner-up in being most detestable human being when it comes to black people's justice. Listen, man. You know, I understand that there are some white people that are pretty upset that this didn't go the other way. I'm upset it happened at all because I'm a decent human being. I'm not from Texas, but I know when somebody says, hey, don't put your hands on me, it's best not to put your hands on that person. Hey, I know that in Maryland, and we don't have the same laws as they do in Texas. I don't know what people were thinking. I don't know what was supposed to happen. I wish it didn't happen, but it happened. And all I want is for this to be investigated above board. I want the investigation to be out in the open for everyone to see exactly what happened and for all of us to get all the information. And no one has all of the information right now. No one. But if the toxicology report is correct, it does put a wrinkle in things for, you know, the upstanding nature of which everyone keeps on saying Austin Metcalf didn't have any issues. And I'm not saying if you had a drug issue that makes you a bad person. I'm just saying that is a mitigating factor. Maybe he wasn't thinking clearly when he laid his hands upon someone who hadn't put his hands on him. Maybe that will be an extenuating circumstance. I'm not saying it's good or fair or right or wrong. I'm saying it's something to consider. You know, there are people saying that he wasn't the aggressor even though he put his hands on someone. I didn't know he was security for the track meet. Some things here are basic that we all agree that I'm seeing from both sides. That part of the story, I've been seeing everyone report the same. And that is that Austin put his hands on Anthony. He didn't have to. He wasn't security. He isn't security. He has no authority to put hands on anyone at any time. And after he was told twice not to. It's kind of, I don't know. I don't know what you think is supposed to happen at that point. You know, I want to also point out there are some white folks who are conservative, or I don't know, man. I don't even want to call you conservative because you're wacky. You know, you're bringing up shit that doesn't have anything to do with this, and you're just grasping at stuff. Look, Don't make me bring up stuff. I don't want to go back to start giving you historical references for how many times white guys, it's like you feel attacked that not every time does a white guy, does the story fall your way. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it doesn't play out your way. I know you're not used to that. Though you're referencing stories that happened in the very recent, last couple of years, you're going, oh my God, even though 1% of cases where cops kill black people, it ever goes to court. I mean, most of the time when cops kill people, it goes nowhere. Nothing happens. You never even hear about it. But I've been bombarded the last 24 hours by people that is just totally beside themselves in this story. America has a history of white guys getting away with doing whatever they want to do to black people. Not just black guys on track meet fields. Texas has a horrible history as well of all types of violence towards black Americans. And very little convictions. Would that be pertinent data, Steven Crowder? Would that be something to consider Jason Sellout Whitlock? As he scrambles to find sympathy without having all the facts laid out, making a straw man argument about a case in another state with adults in law enforcement as if this got anything to do with that at all. I mean, I know you're a sellout, Jason Whitlock, but you have taken sellout to beyond measures I didn't even know were possible. You're dare I say, you're the Michael Jordan of selling out. Just horrible shit. Talk about comparing apples to oranges. People typically do that. That happens in these stories. You're comparing apples to toucans. What are you doing? These things don't relate at all. I don't know what you're doing. I guess he was comparing Austin to George Floyd. I don't know. Well, anyway, here's the thing, guys. This is a disgusting story. It's a sad story. Once again, no one should be happy about it. But I'm getting information that's coming out that shows there was somebody who put hands on somebody first. And when you put your hands on anybody you don't know and you have no authority to do so, things happen. Does that mean I'm not a lawyer? You're not a lawyer that I know of. You're not a judge. Okay, I don't know, maybe you are. We're not a trial court or criminal court. So, it's got to play out, but, putting your hands on strangers because they were standing somewhere you didn't think they should be able to stand, there's no security at this place. There's no one to tell. It's up to you to lay hands on people. I don't know. Unfortunately, I think some of the witnesses told the truth initially, and now they're going to go back and change their stories. I'm hoping that the statements that were made when this happened are in stone and won't be able to be modified, because I can see some modifications coming from certain individuals about what took place. I see some, people remaking history on the fly on this one. I want badly to be someone that can take the high road, and try to move us towards an area where we look at things where we can look at something for what it is and all admit this is just a bad thing that happened. Let's try our best to leave our biases at the door and look at it for what it is and come with empathy and be logical and reasonable. But you know what I'm not going to do? I'm not going to be the only one doing that. Nah, That's one of the problems you mild-mannered Negroes have. Y'all ninjas be too quick to do the kumbaya. You be kumbaya by your damn self. So we're not going to kumbaya on this. If you put your hands on somebody after they said don't touch them, maybe it's a reason for them to say that. Now, from where I come from, when somebody say, hey, don't touch me, people mean that shit. I don't know where y'all come from. I thought in Texas, y'all had that same rule. I don't care if it's one of you or 20 of you. That means give me 10 feet. Give me 5 feet, sir. That's when we back up. This is universal. That being said, once again, man, this is, once again, for the record, guys, I just feel like this is horrific. There are no winners. However this goes, there are no winners. Two families are irreparably damaged. You do understand that, no matter how this goes. The bots that are running on Twitter on this story are amazing. And the crazies too. Oh man, amazing. And the assholes. But there are people that are being thoughtful. Some of them, I wonder what happened to them. They must be practicing law. Oh, it's no probable cause, and you can't use excessive force, and blah 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 blah. You know, all that don't matter. All of it doesn't matter. Someone lost their life. You know? How it could have been avoided is escalation on both sides. Both people could have escalated. De-escalated this. Both people could have de-escalated it. And that's not what happened. The wrong thing happened. These two kids did not de-escalate it. There obviously was no adult. No one de-escalated it. I already know it won't be handled fairly, you know? I already know that. And contrary to the George Floyd people that, Chauvin got a raw deal. Contrary to all of that, historically in this country, in America, if your memory is longer than 2 seconds, cricket people, because they say crickets and flies, house flies, gnats, they don't live that long, and they quickly forget anything. It seems like that's what's going on in the psyche of a lot of you guys. There's a group of people that have historically been wronged, and our justice system tends to look the other way when they have been wronged by a certain group of people. That group of people are us. I know you've been hearing differently lately, because that's the talking point. But it just doesn't pass muster, what you're talking about. Okay? My condolences to the family. And my heart also goes out to the Anthony family. Because based on what I've been reading, and the facts could change, if Austin Metcalf just would have kept his hands to himself, this would have never happened. Yeah, not used to that, are you? Yeah, get used to it. Everyone's not Jason Whitlock. And just because I'm a Democratic Party hater, don't mean I don't stand on business. See, Democrats are not the party of black people. Black people who are not attached to the Democratic Party are the party of black people. When I say black people, I mean Black America. I don't mean Nigerians. I don't mean Congolese and other people from other countries who have other places they can go back to. I'm talking Black America from this country, Black America born in this country. It's different. So just because I don't roll with the Democratic Party does not mean I'm jumping into the ring with a bunch of anti-black and I cannot be around a bunch of black people who are not proud of who they are and who for popularity or for a couple likes or to go viral want to kiss ass. You, Cartier family, and LFR, I hope LFR is not doing this. Look, man, hold yourself to a standard. It ain't worth it. Stand up for yourselves. Don't be like the Hodge twins. Don't be like Tommy Soramore. Don't be like these people. Stand on business. Be better than that. If it comes out, if the facts met out, the facts are fully revealed, we'll take a look at it. But as of right now, based on what I see, no one's been able to disprove. No one's proven to me that Mr. Austin did not put his hands on someone. And that's not murder, even though that's what people are calling it. It's not murder when you put your hands on someone. At worst, it's manslaughter. At worst. So don't let these people on the internet size you up, get your head all big, and then you get your heart broke. Because if you put your hands on somebody who asks you not to twice, all that can happen is manslaughter at the most. But I'm not even going to give you that. We'll see where this goes. All right. I'm sure that people are going to just have to hold that L, see what happens. Because what we're not going to do is we're not going to back down. We're not going to side with you, and we're not going to pretend that we're going to just throw this child away because of this aggressor who felt it was his job to police the track field, put his hands on this young man who may have been afraid for his life. He may have been afraid for his life. We don't know. We'll see. We'll see what the evidence meeks out. We'll see what we get from it. But as of everything that I've been reading, folks, I'm hearing Dad talk a lot, say a lot of things. But one thing that's very consistent, his son put his hands on that young man first. That's the only thing I heard consistently. That's it. Okay? All right. All right, guys, I'm going to leave it there. That's enough. Let me know what you're thinking. If you get information about this story, don't just wait for me. Hit me up at tim@timblacktv.com. We're going to continue to follow this story because someone's got to follow it who's not lock in step with the Democrats, because that's horrible, but who's also not kissing up to a bunch of people that show their true colors every time something happens. Every time something happens. Instead of just saying, you know what, this is a horrific story, this should have never taken place. Instead, you want to convict this young man without any evidence, and you know Austin put his hands on him first. Yeah, I know he had a knife, and I also know in Texas, pretty much everyone's armed. I don't know why. It's what it is. It's the culture of Texas, from what I understand. From what I understand, guns and knives are like a common thing to have there. And that's just the way it is. And we all know if these two young people whose lives, one lost his life, one's life is irreparably changed forever. If we could have just de-escalated this doesn't happen. And if they both were the same complexion, none of us will be talking about it. And that's the sad part. That's the sad part. If they were both the same complexion, whatever complexion, if they were the same, none of us would even be talking about this. No, nobody would care. No one in the news would pick it up. It'd have been local as local could be. It'd have been something, announcement on the school assembly, And they'd have done their grief counseling at the school, and it never would have reached the level of national news, and you know it. It's not a conspiracy against black people or against white people. It's about money. Because they're just making money off our anger and our grief, our bias and our hostility, and our hurt and our pain and our trauma and all that other stuff. All right. That's it. That's all I got. Thank you, guys. Let's move on to the next story. We got more. We got more here. But I want to go to the comment section because I'm sure it's overloaded. I'm sure Black Mamba and Buck Billy are pretty busy. I'm pretty sure people are jumping out the gym right about now. It would still be wrong. We wouldn't be talking about it, Gary Goofs. We wouldn't be talking about it. It wouldn't be news. All caps and stupid. Think about it. Because America doesn't care if we hurt each other. They don't care, man. That's my point. Of course it would be wrong. It's wrong to put hands on anyone. It's wrong to take someone's life unless you're in fear of them taking yours. Violence is wrong. Okay? A person being put in fear, that's wrong to put anyone in fear, and it's wrong to attack anyone or to be attacked. It's all wrong. But I'm saying in America don't care about that. The news only picked it up because it's a story that they can make money off of. We do understand. Everything's about money in this country. If they can make money off of our pain or our anger or our frustration or our sadness or our grief or our fears. That's why they run the story. You don't think they care, do you, Gary? Gary, you know they don't care about us. You've been on this earth more than 2 days. You can type. Okay. Well, Gary's blind. Okay, Gary. Fine. Well, Gary, just know they don't care about us, Gary. I don't think I said anything that was so harsh. Yeah, it was wrong. Morally wrong. My point is, threw me off. My point is this, guys. Let me go to someone else. Jesus Christ. I go get a comment, and then it's like I'm the bad guy because I tell a guy, obviously, America don't give a shit if we hurt each other. You know, like, this is basic stuff. You know? Of course they hate, Gary, see, this is my problem. This is my problem. They don't hate us all, Gary. They just don't care about us all, okay? And there's levels of hate. But nah, they don't care about anybody. They don't care about us. That's what Michael Jackson said. It holds up 30 years later. They don't care about us. No, they don't. They don't. Yeah. I don't know if they hate us. We're a means to an end. You know, we're a means to an end, which is meaning, and when I say an end, to their dividends. You know what I'm saying? That's what they're really focused on. And all my point is, at the end of the day, it's all about money, man. Because they wouldn't care, man, if it was two white kids. If one white kid stabbed another white kid to death, no one would care about, no one would talk about. And if two black kids got into a fight and one of them killed the other, no one would talk about it. We talk about it in our communities. It would be devastating. It would be devastating at the school. It would be devastating in those families. But it would not make the news, is all I'm trying to say. It would just not make the news. And that's something we got to not be manipulated by it. Right? We got to be cognizant of that. But also, my job as an advocate for the Black Americans, I'm an advocate for them, right? And I'm saying I'm not going to sit back and watch this kid be railroaded without voicing my opinion and voicing my commentary on it, because I think it matters. But no, I wish he would have walked away, if possible. If possible. And I wish that white kid wouldn't put his hands on him. And we could keep going. I wish he didn't have a knife, and I wish he didn't, I wish this didn't happen, and I wish that didn't happen. People wish all types of stuff, 11 o'clock in the morning. All right, I'm just gonna move on, man. There's no it's just a horrible. If you ever lost a child, you're in a special group. I'm in a special group. If you've lost a child, you're in a special group. And I know what that feels like. And I don't want to be in that group. But unfortunately I am. And so I take no joy. I find no joy at all in this at all. Okay? None. I'm not dancing on the grave. I'm not laughing about it. It's not funny. It's not a joke. It's disgusting. It's a tragedy. Now, what caused it? We got to get more information, man. But like I said, there are certain facts that I'm not seeing that I'm seeing both sides agree on. And those are the facts I'm really speaking to. And the only facts that we all agree on is that somebody put their hands on somebody. And I wish that never happened, because to me, that's what escalated it. He wasn't a deranged person running around the track meet stabbing people. And why does he feel he need to bring a knife to the field? What has happened at the damn field? I know, like when we used to go to the club, and if anybody had to bring a weapon to the club, maybe we didn't need to go to that club. But why would anybody need to bring a weapon to the nightclub, to the party? Because things have happened at the party. See, I start thinking, why would the young man bring this knife? Why would he feel a need that he needs to protect himself? If they say they didn't know each other, then maybe he didn't bring it because of this guy. But did they have a run-in? See, I'm getting different information that says they actually did know each other and there was bad blood and something has happened before. But I can't confirm it. These are rumors. So there is actually a whole lot to unpack in this. You know what I'm saying? There is a lot that we could discuss here, but I don't want to be too hazardous, because I don't know. I got no confirmation. So I'm basically voicing where both sides have agreed to had happened. And one of those things is somebody touched someone else and someone was warned not to touch them. And someone did not heed that warning. But yeah, of course, we should all consider, I'm sure people at the school and everyone who knows. All I'm saying is, what kind of track meet are we going to where people feel necessary to bring a weapon? What has happened? So there's a lot, like I say, I believe there's a lot that hasn't come out yet. And we're going to see what happens. We need to see this information come out, because I don't buy it that everyone who comes to that track has a weapon. I hope it's not like that. And why did he have to bring a weapon? Why did he feel a need to bring a weapon to the track meet? So maybe he had a reason. There are people discounting it like he's just deranged, like he was just running around cutting people. And that's not what I'm getting. I don't get that from the 3.7 GPA, 2-job holding down athlete. He had dreams too. Looks like they may be gone bye-bye. Okay, so I'm wondering, what precipitated this? And unfortunately, all I'm getting a lot of is people going, "Oh, it's so sad. It's so sad." There's no facts. It's just grief. And I feel a certain kind of way, fam, because when it's black kids, I don't hear the grief part, where everyone's blubbering because the black people are crying. But when the white guy's crying, I'm hearing a lot of blubbering, and everybody going, "Oh, this is so sad." It's not always that way. It's people saying stuff like, "He didn't do nothing, didn't do nothing, didn't do nothing, didn't do nothing." Isn't that what they say all the time when it's us? It's didn't do nothing, didn't do nothing. They never did nothing. My baby didn't do nothing. I seen the memes. And now, listen to him now. He didn't do nothing. He didn't do nothing. He didn't do nothing, but he did do something. There are people out there that thought it was okay for, what's the young man who was killed? He walked into a construction area. Remember that guy? He walked into the construction area, looked around like all the white people did, but then the black guy does it. It's like, what's he doing around here? He must be stealing stuff. Then they track him down and kill him. What was that? So like these stories keep popping up, man. And you got to just accept for a large amount of people in America, there's different sets of rules. It's different rules. But I'm not going to adhere to them. I'm not going to adhere to them. If it's okay for Daniel Penny to choke the life out of Jordan Neely, who hadn't put a hand on anybody that day, and y'all going to call him a hero because he saved some lives. He felt like he was saving lives, right? Well, maybe. Isn't it possible that Anthony felt he was saving someone's life too, his own? Yeah, see, I'm not going to take that off the table. It's too many times it seems like black people be too afraid to just stand on business. Stand on business. I'm not going to cede that ground that He-Man felt threatened. I'm not going to do it because I don't see it happening on the other side when these types of issues come up. We get afraid too. Black people get afraid too. We can defend ourselves too. We could be afraid, just like the ex-Marine was afraid. What the homeless 130-pound homeless guy was going to do. In broad daylight in front of the hole on a closed train with no weapons. Maybe, I don't know, maybe Anthony Carmelo thought somebody with him might have, and that's why he ran. Maybe he thought might have a gun or something. I don't know why he did what he did. We'd have to ask him, but I'm not gonna take that off the table. Because nobody took it off the table for Daniel Penny. No one took it off the table for Zimmerman. I'm not taking it off the table for Mr. Anthony. We'll see. Much love to you. Much love to you. Yeah, people say that. Maria, I hear you, Maria. But you know, he's doing, okay, so here's the thing, and this is perfect. Maria says, the parents of the slain boy already forgave him. Father said, it's up to God, not to him to judge. You know, here's the thing. That's not all he said, though. He did say that. But then in the same breath, he said, the boy said he was defending himself. But people say anything to get out of trouble when they get in trouble. So he said that too. And then when you say, hey, I'm not going to blame him, I'm going to let God, he used the word murder my son. You murdered my son. And I understand where that's coming from, man. I do. I understand where that's coming from if you lose a child. But to me, the father's going, he wants it both ways. And I understand he wants it both ways. Make no mistake about it, he sees his son as a victim. So he's saying, oh, I'm not a judge and leave it to God and God this and God that. Yeah, but also when he says, I forgive him, that itself implies guilt. You understand? If you forgive somebody, they did something wrong, right? Because if he didn't do nothing wrong, he don't need to be forgiven, right? And I'm not willing to concede that he needs his forgiveness, because I'm not going to arbitrarily say he did anything wrong, because nobody else does. And if you don't understand what I'm talking about, well, you need to look at your cousins or nephews and neighbors and coworkers and consider what I'm saying. Think about the history of how things play out. Because Ahmaud Arbery, they say he stole stuff from here and he had nothing in his pockets. He was casing the place with his eyes. He was looking. So he could, this is crazy. He was looking at stuff. Made us feel unsafe because he was looking around. So these things, and see, this is the baggage of being an American and dealing with what we deal with. And it's unfortunate, man, and I wish very much that we can move past this. But me moving past it does not move the country past it. It doesn't move the law enforcement past it. It doesn't move the judges past it. And it doesn't move the jurors past it. You understand what I'm saying? So me being a bigger person doesn't mean the rest of the country is being a bigger person. I take big exception to the black conservatives who for some reason are siding with the person with the gun. Because if it would have been a gun and he would have shot him, you would have sided with him. Right? You stand your ground, gun people. If the person with the gun says, hey, back up off me, don't touch me, back up off me, you grab him and pow. Y'all would have sided with him, boom. So I already know they're full of it. They just want to keep their mostly conservative audience happy. Okay? That's how I see it. Because if someone has a gun, if it was a gun and it was a white guy with a gun and the black guy put his hands on him after he told the black guy not to touch him, no one would have a problem with the white guy shooting him. They'd say, F-A-F-O, 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 all over the place, all over the internet. I guess you're F-A-F-O. Well, you know what? I'm not gonna cave in it. I refuse to compromise. And I'm just saying, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. And in Texas, if they are Texas citizens, they all operate under the same rules. And if someone says, don't touch me, someone says, get your hands off me, and you don't, what I saw, there was a brief tussle. People die during tussles. We never know how tussles end up. So see, it's legally, this is getting to a lot of different places. And without all the information, I don't know what we can't solve anything without all the information. Yep. Lawrence Jones. Thank you, my friend. Thank you, my friend. Tough situation, man. I'm gonna try to get out, Lawrence, man. I appreciate you, man. Can I say this, guys? I really wish this hadn't happened. I do. Because no matter how this ends up, it's a tragedy. It's already a tragedy. It's only going to get worse. And I don't even think it's sunk in for the family yet of either. So that's it. But these days, I'm so them days over, Johnson. I don't do that. We ain't doing that over here. Next story.
Martin.
You know the deal. Independent black media stays unapologetic, raw, and real. Now you can wear the movement. From the Tim Black Wolf Pack to the Cornbread Collection. We got gear for the real ones. For men, women, even the little ones. No weak threads, no weak messages. Rep the truth. Rep the movement. Hit up TimBlackPauls.com and grab yours today. Because cornbread ain't free. Oh, Wolfpack. That's right, everybody. Keep your cornbread. Go to Tim Black Pauls.
With Tim Black.
What about people that look at the Democratic Party right now and said, you know this man was debilitating, and you have the Republicans leaning on the fact that you hid that from the American people, and they think that that plays a role in things that are being held against you right now as a party. To that you say what?
Well, I don't even know why that's an issue. I talked, by the way, Joe Biden called me today. He sounded very compos mentis, got very argumentative, not argumentative with me, but very fired up when he was talking to me. I don't know, man. Right. I never saw it.
There's a lot of people who are concerned about Joe Biden's ability to carry the ball all the way across the end line without fumbling. And I think that Castro has some really legitimate concerns about, can he be someone in a long, grueling campaign that can get the ball over the line? And he has every right to call that out. I do think that tone and tenor is really important, and we can respect President Biden and disagree with him. I tried to show that in the CNN debate, where he and I have strong different disagreements. But we shouldn't do things that at the end of this, when you demonize somebody and create bad blood, it's hard to unify afterwards.
Case study QB, man. Thank you, brother. He put the receipt in there. I didn't know you did that in your content. Well, Jesus. Sounds to me like Cory Booker, who everyone has recently decided he's going to be the standard bearer of the Democratic Party, maybe even replace Chuck Schumer. Yeah, doesn't look like Cory Booker's all that honest. Folks, the whole thing with Joe Biden's competence, but them days these days, but I'm so them days over, Johnson. We ain't doing that over here. Perfect. You made it to the end of the video. I appreciate you. Now, Google thinks this next video is going to be perfect for you. It's right up your alley. So click the next video, watch that with me, and let's keep this politics going. You're built for this.